Welcome in, everyone, and I'm back with an XP12 stream, looking a little bit different, and the reason for that is I've had a bit of time with it. I've been messing around with a few of the settings, putting in a few scenery packages, trying to make them work, for one, and managed to get a few of the things working. Now, it's still a beta, it's still got issues. Performance is pretty hectic at the moment, it's up and down with the frames, but overall it is stable. And well, I decided to pick up the new Aerobask. It released today, this afternoon in the UK, around about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And I managed to grab it straight away, take it for a quick test flight around the airport we are currently at, which is Wolverhampton, and just, put it through its paces. What's it like? Quite fortunate, one of my good friends is a DR400 pilot, not this particular model, but he is a DR400 pilot, and he does get to fly quite regularly in his DR400. But he couldn't get back to me in time with a couple of the questions that I've asked for, so no doubt there will be an updated stream to this for everything that I've done wrong. So, freeware aircraft from Aerobask. Now, they did this aircraft for X-Plane 11 back in, I believe it was 2018, and they've done it again for X-Plane 12, and it's a great little publicity, little bit of give back to the community. And the reason for that is they've got some other aircraft that they are getting ready to bring out. Now let's have a look at the DR400 textures so far. So we're outside the aircraft. As you can see, we're at Wolverhampton. Well, you can't really tell we're at Wolverhampton, but we are at Wolverhampton. And the overall texture that they've kind of, I don't know if they remodeled it or just given it a bit of a tweak, but it looks absolutely fantastic. You can see the ribs, the reflect. It's a little bit shiny, but let's kind of say, okay, it's, not MSFS. We don't really like clean and shiny in flight sims, but it's a brand new DR400 CDI, so it's the diesel variant with 155 horsepower, so it's got quite a bit of oomph for what it does. There are a few little niggles and whatnot with it, and I quickly popped into the forum to have a little look, and a few of the people are having a few issues, let's say. And just checking my statistics there with OBS, because we've downloaded the latest OBS, and well, it kind of doesn't seem to like my PC. However, seem to be going okay so far. So back to the forums. So on the forums, I've noticed that there's a few people having a few issues. I've not had any issues with what they're reporting, so I can't really compare. But overall, the quality-wise, in terms of external, it's absolutely fantastic. It looks stunning on the ramp here at Wolverhampton. And if you're wondering what my buildings and things are a little bit different in relation to standard X-Plane 12 buildings, and the reason for that is, well, I'm running AEP plugin for X-Plane 12. I had it for X-Plane 11, and they did a free upgrade for X-Plane 12, which was really nice to see. And yes, the horrible, horrendous default scenery I no longer have either. So I've managed to get Orbx, all of my Orbx True Earth scenery to work. Couple give me a few little issues. I think that's just a plugin issue and a library issue. It doesn't have the latest generation of trees all over. You do pick them up in a certain few places, especially at a couple of airports that are using the default airport. But if you're using Orbx airports or any other kind of third-party airport as a scenery, it won't show you the latest trees. I then went and had a little mess around with Simhaven's X World for X-Plane 12, and that's pretty cool. But I noticed that a lot of the scenery packages, in terms of the trees, which puts OSM data in much accurate OSM data for people who are using Ortho 4XP, it just didn't have as much as what the default did. So default scenery actually had more trees. It wasn't true to life. It wasn't accurate. I get that, but it had a lot more trees, a lot more forest vegetation. Just looked a hell of a lot nicer. So I took that one back out and chucked Orbx in. Now, where you can see these brown trees in the distance, those are the latest generation. You can see I've got 3D there, it's fluttering in the wind. 2D here, that's Orbx, because they've not updated their libraries at present. Hopefully once they do, all of this will look fantastic. And the good news is it's not taking up any further hard drive space than what I already had for my X-Plane 11, because you just simply go into your X-Plane folder. Sorry, I was just making sure the sim volume was on, and it wasn't. So you go into your X-Plane 11 folder, wherever you hold your libraries for your Orbx scenery, and very simply right click on it, highlight the ones that you want, click, drag them over to your X-Plane 11 custom scenery folder with the right click, and then let go. And what it will ask you to do is, do you want to move it here, zip it here, or would you like to create a shortcut? Just select create a shortcut. Then you go into your scenery ini file, and again, pretty straightforward. You remap it so that you have your scenery loading in below your global airports, unless they have Orbx airports. But for me personally, I prefer to keep all the global airports above, unless they are specific Orbx ones. But I've taken away all of my Orbx airports until they get the update. The reason for that is you won't get these lovely ground textures. I know everyone's kind of raving or completely hating on the puddles, but you won't get the puddles either, whether you like them or not. So at its present state, it's not fully compatible with Orbx until Orbx update their libraries. However, managed to get a few things running. I'm not sure what it's going to do to the frames, because, as I said, performance can be hit and miss, especially on the CPU. But I have messed around with some of my settings, so let's go in and have a look at my graphics settings. So these are the graphics settings that I'm currently running, and the reason for that is I've experienced a lot of ups and downs with regards to the frames per second. I'm running, as you can see, I've got 3 monitors. I'm not really using the other 2. I've got one for a GTN 530. I've got a screen that I'm running, which does my stream information. So those 2, they're not sim based. I don't have them as a wraparound cockpit or anything of such. But I was having a lot of issues with regards to FPS going up, going down, CPU load going through the roof, CPU dropping down. It is a beta. It is to be expected. However, it is stable. I've not had any CTDs that weren't created by me. And the reason why I say that is I've been trying and trialing a lot of aircraft, a lot of scenery packages to find out what works and what doesn't work, what the sim actually flies like, where's the improvement to be made, and then trying to feed that back to the report bug email address that you get when you sign up to do the betas. Did it before with X-Plane 11, doing it again with X-Plane 12. It can become tedious, so if you don't have a lot of patience, stay away from the beta and just wait for a little while until X-Plane 12 drops, if you want to get it. This sim is not finished. I'll highlight this because I've heard tons of reviews from other simmers regards to the quality, the price. I have my own perception of those, but it wouldn't be fair to pass it on a sim when it is in beta. My advice to anyone and everyone that isn't sure is stay away until the final product is available. Once it's released as a final, with its then updates moving forward, you can make your informed decisions as to whether or not you wish to purchase. Right, disclosure out of the way, disclaimer issued. These are my settings. So I've brought my texture quality from maximum. I've just brought it to high. I've got a 3080. It's absolutely fine if I run it on max, but I'm trying to get the best performance. Ambient occlusion quality, occlusion quality is ultra. Rendering resolution, I've set that to off, so I want my full res. Anti-aliasing is 2 times MSAA. You can put it to 4 times if you wish to. I feel no requirement to. These are just my settings. That works with my rig. Anisotropic filtering, I've got it times 16. Cloud quality at max. Shadow quality, I've just brought that one down just a touch from max to high. Rendering distance at maximum. World objects density, I've got high. Just to back off the CPU. Vegetation, again, I've got that at high, and it was just purely to back off the CPU because I was noticing there was some quite high loads on the CPU, and I don't believe it's my PC. I've got an i9 9900K overclock with, as I said, a 3080 and 64 gigabyte of RAM. So PC wise, spec wise, I've got no issues running. This is just purely a beta issue, and that is predominantly it. So I'm just going to bring the time back just a touch here because I don't want to be getting too dark, and we'll jump on in to the Robin and have a little look around. Now let's have a look at some of these texture qualities in the sim. Now this is a freeware aircraft. I don't suspect Aerobask have chucked in a ton of time and effort into this, but it certainly does look like they have. There's a few issues in regards to the weights and balance. I've looked through the menu there and it's not great, but no doubt they'll have a quick look at those and probably push out a config file to correct any of those issues for the future updates. And it updates through Skunkcraft, so you don't have to you don't have to manually go and find the update. If you set it up, as soon as you open up the sim, it'll take a little bit longer because Skunkcraft will run a check on your aircraft. But if there's an aircraft in your folder, the Skunkcraft updater will basically say, oh, this needs updating, and update it for you next time you fly the aircraft. There may be a few things slightly different, however, it will be the latest update for that aircraft. So you can see here, pedals are working fine. Toe brakes doesn't really imitate the toe brakes, which is a shame, but toe brakes are there. Let's see if it does it here actually. I release the brakes. No, so it doesn't imitate toe brakes, not a problem. We can go ahead and start getting some life into this. So if we go master battery, which is done. Now I've seen a lot of people having issues with regards to gaining access to the alternator, which is under this switch guard here. I've got mine bound. I've got a flight planner in front of me, so I have everything bound to there. It's also got a key start, beacon, landing lights, etc. They're all switches, all bound. So if we go ahead and put on strobe, you should see the strobe light come up over here. And I'm going to go ahead and stick on nav. We're just going to be telling everybody that we're getting ready to start. Fuel, we can flick across to on, and just have a little look here. You see that we've got both fuel tanks are full. Now we should pull from, I believe it's the left tank, and once we select our fuel transfer, what it should then do is it'll transfer from the right tank into the left tank. You balance it out and turn off your fuel transfer. It is a FADEC engine, so we only have the one throttle lever or lever. We do have alternate air. We don't have carb heat because it's a diesel and it has a turbo. Auxiliary tank, you can see it here. Fuel transfer into main tank. So you just pull that out, and what will happen is the fuel will transfer from the reserve tank into your main. Push that one back in. Right, so we're pretty good to do a start, I believe. I just want to go ahead and crack the throttle ever so slightly. And I'm not going to close the canopy. I want to kind of listen and show you guys the sounds. They're not the world's greatest, but they're not the worst I've come across, that's for sure. And especially for a freeway aircraft, they're actually pretty good. So fuel pump can come on. Now I've got the sounds you can control here. So I've got these set to more realistic levels as to when we have a headset on in an aircraft, so what I'm kind of used to hearing. So let's go ahead and give this a crank. Now to do that, we go master switch wants to come to on. It'll say preheating. The preheating light, which is here, should extinguish, and then we can start. Okay, so let me just turn that up. So you can hear that pretty fair. So the sounds do change. The ambient sounds will simulate different regions, and I just need to. I've got my Sky Demon app open. I'm going to be flying a specific route, and we're in Wolverhampton. So there's a few NOTAMs today. We're going to be taking off from runway 04. I just need to log my engine start. 04 is just here, just to the left. So we'll be taxiing out and we'll be taking off runway 04. It's a short runway. And I'm going to go with a flaps approach takeoff setting. So we are going to depart with some flaps. I just want to make sure that my trim wheel is working, because it's taken a few days for me to kind of get my honeycomb Bravo switches and things all kind of set up. I just want to make sure that they are working. Yep, that's working. White director. You can go ahead and turn that off. We don't need that on. You can see we've got 0 errors. This is a brand new aircraft. We need to be careful. No idea. Just a bit of see if this does work. So the FADEC test doesn't work. Now that's what you would use in your run-up, so we're not going to be doing a... Oh, that didn't work, did it? You reset that one. Oh dear, pressing the wrong buttons there. There we go. So that's done. There we are. We're going to be initially climbing 3,000. Not 23,000. Let's see, actually, see if this does work. Oh, it does work. Lovely. I just wish it didn't jump so much. Initial climb will be 3,000, and then once we've departed to the southwest, we'll be heading towards a place called Highley. Should be around about 236 degrees once we've made our turnout, because we depart runway heading, we've got to do a left turnout here. So we'll do left turnout, climb to 3,000, depart to the south. We've got no airspace above us until around about looks like 8,000. So we'd just be on Shawbury radar. And one thing I did notice is if you look at the turbo inlet temperature here, it goes a little bit nuts, even with the slightest bit of throttle. So you see, I've just put in 13.5 inches of manifold pressure, and I'm already amber on the turbo inlet temperature. Cylinder heat temperature still coming up. We'll just go ahead and turn off the fuel pumps. Strobe lights, nav lights are on. Pitot heat can come on because it's quite cold and there is moisture in the air today. Taxi lights will give a flash. There we are, letting people know we're moving away. Set up the next rad, and I want to zoom that out. So there is some weather around, not so much where we are, but definitely some weather down towards the south today. So that's full flaps. That's all good. Around the box. Controls are free and clear. Up is down, down is up, up is down, down is up. Perfect. And right. 1, 2, 1. Right, let's go flying, yeah? And we'll have a little look around, see how things look, and whether or not XP12 looks worse or looks slightly better, which I'll leave you guys to kind of decide and judge on. Wind is good. We're heading down to Bristol today, so let's do Echo Golf Bravo Oscar. I haven't filed a flight plan. I was going to go on to VATSIM because I've got VATSIM running now. And we want to go to Echo Golf. And I'm only setting this in really for reference. Should we get lost, we'll just do a direct to Bristol. You can see here in these textures here, it's to try and simulate vibration. I'm not so sure myself. I mean, if a whole cockpit was vibrating like this, I'd be a little bit concerned. I'm not gonna lie. Seems quite excessive. Maybe my friend can shed some light on that. So we'll head on down. Hit that, hit enter, there we are. So first things first, it's requiring quite a lot to get rolling here. Got rolling. And let's go and have a little look here. The sounds are actually really good for a completely freeware aircraft, and we'll just go ahead and kick the rudder here. And I'm just using a bit of differential braking just to help me get round. There we are. Set the parking brake. I don't really want to do this because I know the TIT is going to go through the roof, but hopefully it won't break anything. Now, I don't have FADEC, so I'm just doing a quick run-up check just to make sure everything's fine. Which it is. Not going to start dropping mags or anything like that. Don't need to do that. Definitely feels like it requires a bit too much power to get going for such a light aircraft. Robin DR400s are mainly, they've got like a canvas material. You can see the ribs there. I'm not sure what the exact makeup is. I'll have to have a quick research on that. But overall, it's a very tidy aircraft. Fuel pump on, landing lights are on, transponder to alt. Looking good so far. Okay. So we'll be taking off runway 04, and it's going to be a left turn out once we are overhead the end of the runway. So we'll be turning out to the left, and then we'll maintain that left turn around about 15 degrees until we come all the way around, climb to 3000, and then head towards Highley. Are you ready to get going? I'm sure we're ready to get going. Let's get down to Bristol. So I'm on the toe brakes, parking brakes released, heels to the floor. T's and P's are all good and in the green. Getting bounced around a little bit here. Airspeed's alive, climbing. There's rotation. Here it comes. Going at the aircraft. Aiming for 75. too bad. Not looking too shabby. Climb's good. Build some airspeed. We'll bring the power back just a touch. To Wolverhampton. So you may see some stutters, especially when I'm moving the camera around. Some that I've been experiencing quite a lot. However, overall system, it's not been doing too bad with these current graphics settings that I've got on. Coming up to exit the airspace, it'll be 3,000, and then we'll be heading on over towards Highley now. Turn that turn there. Sunvisor here to try and find where Highley is on the foreground in front of us. We'll keep climbing. You should see a little bit of a river, and then Highley's just after that. Landing lights, taxi lights can all come off now. One thing you do have to do with XP12 for a lot of the aircraft is you have to maintain that right rudder in. Yaw dampener and things at the minute it doesn't seem to be working in a lot of XP port overs. For Harley on the nose. Now just to cruise. There's a stream, that's Highley there off the nose. This is the river slash, looks like a stream from this altitude, but no doubt it will be a bit of a river in the real world. Turning out from Highley, we're turning out 182 degrees. Set 182. It's Highley. 182 degrees. Ooh, don't want to lose altitude. Now, one thing that's really cool with XP12 is you can set multiple trim settings. So you can use a mechanical trim. If you've got like what I have, I've got a trim wheel, so you can use a mechanical trim to trim the aircraft, or you can use a rocker trim, which is what I've also got set, which is on my Fulcrum joystick yoke. But if you're using a joystick or any kind of stick to fly, I definitely recommend making sure that you have two choices to trim. And the reason for that is the rocker switches are a little bit more aggressive, I've found, compared to the manual trim. The mechanical trim, no servos. And what we're going to do as well is we're going to advance the power now. We'll do an in-cruise climb. We want to go to 5,000. Yeah. Set, and we want 5,000. What's your thoughts? How do you think X-Plane, or should I say my XP12 is going along? How do you think it's looking? A few of the aircraft do need some work. I noticed the flight model in the wings is a little bit aggressive, especially when you're coming into land. The cloud textures still need a lot of work. It's not Microsoft Flight Simulator scenery. Say it's bad enough that it breaks immersion. And yes, I am hand flying. I'll try not to use the autopilot for as much as today's flight as I can. Overall, the general feel it's actually really, really nice. I can't fault it. I've got an airspace alert here. This is a G1000/American thing going on. I'm not in any airspace currently. It's because I'm actually under airspace. It doesn't have a vertical reflection by the looks of things to tell me if I'm actually under it or in it. I'm not too worried about that. Let the airspeed build just a touch. There we are, perfect. And we'll bring the power back now, nice and gentle. 5,000 the yoke, just make small increments of adjustment. Where the yoke is in relation to its position. So that I'm pushing the nose forward slightly, ever so slightly. I'm just trimming that out now with my mechanical trim. I can use my rocker, and now I'm completely. I was going to say I'm completely hands off, but that was hands and feet off. So staying coordinated, planting my heels into the floor. Yeah, it's not doing too bad. Let's have a little look outside. Do with some work, but it's freeware. I've flown plenty of freeware in my time, and I can promise you they genuinely do not fly anywhere like this. They really don't. And for a freeware aircraft from a very highly regarded developer, I can't complain. I have no idea what's going on here. What's that doing? I'm seeing some really weird levels in my sound on OBS. I'm not sure if this entire thing's just had music blaring over it. Hopefully it hasn't. And since I updated OBS, it's been doing some weird things, like my intro music at the start no longer plays. I can't even get it to monitor. I can see it playing. I can see the audio file moving, but I can't make out what it's actually playing. And the last stream I did, it didn't play there. So not quite sure why the latest update from OBS is taking so long for them to fix, but they've not fixed it yet. And all of my plugins that I had running as well, they've all gone too. So thanks OBS, much appreciated. Took me long enough to learn how to put them in the first place, and now you've gone and ruined it all. A little bit of thermal activity there. We'll just get back onto flight and airfields. Okay, I don't need the node time for Wolverhampton. We want Bristol. Just get back on course here. So we got a ground speed of 112 knots and a fuel flow of 6.2. I'm assuming that's gallons per hour, which is it's absolutely incredible. But it's what you would expect with the latest generation diesel. Cheaper fuel too. We can bring this back even further here, just so we've got the RPM running at about 2,000. There we are, there's 2,000. Looking pretty good so far. So we're heading down to Ledbury. That's our next waypoint. And I'm literally flying this just really with fingertips. I'm not gripping the... Oh, there's a wind change. I'm not gripping the yoke in any way, shape or form. Just with my fingertips, just moving the yoke back and forth. And then if I start getting a few kind of altitude, you know, quite a large altitude change, what I'll do then is I'll just trim it out. Hold the correct attitude to the horizon and just trim it out. And it's doing what I'd hoped it would do. Oh, there's another wind change. We'll go 804. There we are. It's just getting a little bit bumpier, and I don't want to lose too much light. We'll just put the light there for now, so it's kind of not dazzling us here. Although that is quite accurate when, you know, when the sun's low in the sky like that and you're flying, it does kind of hit the ground and scatter. These clouds really need some work. But not bad for, you know, BO2. It's currently at 12.00 B2, Beta 2. So there was an update. I think it was the day after it released. I think that was more for Plane Maker or WED. It may have been. It was definitely something for the devs. So Ledbury's just off the nose here. We should start picking it up shortly. Let's have a little look. See if I can find it. I think that's it just down there. Yeah, that looks like Ledbury. Should we set up a GoPro cam for you all? There you are, there's your YouTube GoPro cam setup. Want to track that. I'm going to get myself a little bit higher in the cockpit there. I like to be able to see just the top of the cowling. Oh, that way. There we are. So we're 5 miles from Ledbury, which is definitely that just off the nose. And yeah, let's jump outside. Oh, losing some altitude there. Let's see what Bristol ATIS is. 126. Oh, I've not got any of those set, have I? 126. And we want decimal 030. We'll keep Bristol tuned in. So once we get past Ledbury, we're going to be turning 198 degrees. And that should take us roughly around about 15 to 20 minutes. So if you're watching along, I'd just like to say thank you for giving up your time. That's really appreciated. And one thing that any streamer is always appreciative for is people actually giving their time to watch something that they've put together or done. Time's such a precious thing these days. So thank you. So we're going to turn out now 198 degrees. There we go. Going to bring the power back just a touch. And look at that, we're now running at 5 gallons per hour. And I just want to check my fuel. So we'll go ahead and balance the tanks again. So we'll just watch. This should now start to dip down, and we'll see that kind of kick in. Fuel pump's on. Oh, way overturn that. We're doing other things. There we are. Fuel pump can come off. There we go. Good job with VFR and not IFR. Would have been so in trouble. Con 1 and Con 2. I kind of want. 1, 2, 6, 0. This is why I have a radio stack. There we are. I'm blown around a little bit. So we're heading on over towards, I believe it's Chepstow now. So we should be passing Gloucester, and we should be able to make out the Severn Bridge and the Prince of Wales Bridge, and then we'll head on into Bristol. So once we're in kind of Chepstow region, we'll head on over towards Bristol, but we do have some airspaces that we need to kind of stay out of the way of. So we'll consider making a descent at some point, and for nav 1 I want 124, that's what I wanted. 124750, which is the 5th. There we are. So that's just flight information service, and we'll be requesting basic service. And with that, we would have to squawk what they want us to squawk as well. To say that we're monitoring. So again, I haven't tested this on VATSIM. I haven't tested this aircraft or streamed testing this aircraft. This is the first time I've got into this aircraft. I don't really know too much about the Robin aircraft other than a couple of the speeds, which I had a quick look on. I know they are a popular UK aircraft from private pilot owners. And this version, in terms of its fuel economy, seems absolutely incredible. You used to see a few of these at Gloucester Airport when I was flying out of there. And one of the gentlemen at St. Athens Air Club, he's got a red and white one. And I'm not going to lie, I have kind of sat there looking at it, admiring it from afar. So we're kind of mid-Wales region. That's the bends in the river, the River Severn. That's Newent just over there on the side. It really does hand fly beautifully. And in this sim, I know a lot of people kind of expect it to be quite twitchy all the time. It genuinely isn't like that. If you've got turbulent air, especially in the middle of summer, you without a question, you know, you will have the days where it's pretty rough. But genuinely, it's not always like that. I know a lot of people have a few flying lessons in turbulent air, and they think that's how it's always going to be. Oh no, my first solo, when I went up, when I trimmed the aircraft and I let the controls go, that aircraft probably would have stayed at that without any input until I wanted to change direction or altitude. It was so beautiful and so smooth to fly, and some days I like that because it's just getting a little bit twitchy now. These little twitches that you see, that's 100% common. If it's turbulent air, or gusting winds, it's going to make things a little bit different. Does it feel like it's running on rails? A little bit, but I'm only using my fingertips here just to move these controls, just to kind of get a feel. It doesn't seem stuck. That's where the term running on rails comes from. So it's basically where you're flying along and you kind of do a little movement and you're like, okay, why is that not doing anything? And all of a sudden the aircraft will kind of shoot up into a climb or a descent. It doesn't feel that way. Just get back onto my head in here. Those cloud textures are absolutely horrible. So I am kind of waiting to see. I know I've got NextRad running. I was hoping to kind of see a bit of weather here. I'm looking at my map, my real world map that I'm currently running. I can't really see much right now. Everything else seems okay. I'll look at the layers. Which is fine. I want to get high there. Let's get back down. So we're just 2 miles to the north well, west of Siderford. It should be just over here. That's Coleford, just there. Wind's just pushing me off to the right side of where I'm wanting to be heading here, so line it back up, monitor the drift, and just make those little corrections. I think for a freeware aircraft, for a new simulator that's just dropped, I think Aerobask can kind of hold their hands up and say, well done, guys. Yeah, it needs a little bit of work, especially around the things like the turbo inlet temperature, especially on your ground. I wouldn't expect it to go straight into the red, truth be told. I'd be a bit worried about that and probably go into maintenance if that happened, but it could be that's the case. That's a real world representation. I doubt it, but it could be. So I'm expecting to kind of get ready to make our descent, and with that we're going to be conducting our arrival into Bristol. So according to the METAR information, and we're not picking up Bristol's weather, which is interesting, because that is definitely the frequency. So let's have a look here. Oh, okay, they do 250. Must be an X-plane thing. Let's see if that works. 025. That should work. Com 1, com 2. Yeah. That's super quiet, isn't it? I can't hear what she's saying. Let's have a look. Sounds here. Sounds, radios are full, aircraft interiors full, master, pilot, aircraft exteriors down. Information Delta. Pretty much just about heard that then. Unusual that was. Alright, let's put that back up to where we... So that definitely needs a little bit of work for flying wise. So that's Chepstow there, guys and girls. Just there. Chepstow. This here is the old Severn Bridge. Oh, the Severn Bridge. It used to be the old Severn Bridge and the new Severn Bridge. However, it's not that anymore. It's the old Severn Bridge or the Severn Bridge. And the other bridge is the Prince of Wales Bridge. For the first bridge, 7 bridge. The second big bridge that we can see, that's the newer one. And no more toll booths. And that's the 7 bridge. The Prince of Wales bridge. Which ultimately was named after King Charles, but events have changed that. So overall, just kind of sitting here flying along, I'll try and convey what I'm actually feeling in the sim. Because I know a lot of people talk about immersion. I'm really immersed right now, I'm not going to lie. This feels very much like the routes I've flown in the real world. It feels very much like I'm flying in the real world, other than the fact that I'm looking at a screen and I'm talking to a microphone that's sitting in my face. Which, truth be told, isn't much different to flying a real aircraft, other than the fact that the microphone's smaller and you're looking outside of a window. Alright, so we're going to start our descent here. I'm going to turn over towards the M5 bridge, which is over at Bristol. And we do need to be careful, because the reason why I've had to come down this side of the River Severn is there are danger areas around here. One's for wildlife, which is up to 4,000 from surface. And then you've got the oil plantations and a gasworks in this region. So we're going to kind of aim for the edge of this harbour region here, and then we're going to go and link up with the M5 bridge, which is over there. We could continue if we wanted to the Clifton Suspension Bridge, which is just a little bit further down. However, we don't need to do that today, because we can turn right bound and we can look to join a left base for runway 09 at Bristol. So you can see the wind's just kind of picked up here. We can see we've got storm clouds just on the horizon there. And they're not very nice looking. I've got no idea what's over to the west of me, because I can't see out of there. I'm just going to keep that descent profile. It's really nice. I've got my feet locked in. I'm just going to check fuel. Fuel's good. Engine TCPs are all good and in the green, apart from the turbo inlet temperature, which is a bit concerning. Descent speed is good. Trying to not let this 11 knot wind here kind of push me across. So I do have to be careful. There is Cardiff approach control zone just off my right here. We're just under the actual Bristol approach, so we haven't bust any airspace. 125.650. That's Bristol approach, and we'll be giving Bristol a call up now, telling them that we're inbound. Request join. One 36080. And that's Bristol Direct, or Bristol Control. Bristol Centre, and call Bristol Direct on 136.080, which we're good for. So what we'll be telling them is that we're 3 nautical miles to the north of the M5 Avon Bridge VRP. Request join to land Bristol. And then we would tell them our altimeter setting and our altitude. So we're descending through 2,700 for, I believe we'll be descending down to 1,008. We'll set that in as well. So in order to descend a little bit harder than what we would be, what we are doing now, you could start performing S turns. We're not going to be doing that. So landing light can come on. I'm going to turn out to Bristol. You can just see the airport there on the nose, and I want to kind of do downwind, left base. I'm going to turn in for left base here. I'm blowing around a little bit now. Those clouds definitely don't look friendly, do they? Overall, I'm quite impressed with this aircraft. I know there's probably going to be some Robin DR 400 pilots or 401 pilots sitting there going, oh my god, what's this guy doing? But overall, it's the first thing is it's super easy to fly, which makes it a great study aircraft for any new starter to the sim and experienced sim user alike. So we're just going to come up on East Nailsea, which is just here, off the news. 1 o'clock. And I'm going to continue until we hit the A370. We really are being kicked around here. There's Bristol. So the airport scenery that I'm running there is Bristol Definitive by Pilot Plus. Let's have a look at the airport and METAR information 1011. At 1010, sorry. Okay, approach flats can come on. Taxi lights can come on. That's really, really nice. A lot of the aircraft in the sim that I've flown at the minute is as soon as you kind of put any kind of flap in, the up pitch is so aggressive. You don't really get that in an aircraft unless you stick and flapping at quite a high speed. We're a bit high here. So in the turn, we're gonna have to make the turn a little bit earlier than what we would normally do because of this tailwind. Well, this wind. As we start turning, it's going to blow us through the runway line, center line, which we're going to want. And we'll go ahead and put landing flaps in now. Again, really nice, easy to manage on the controls. There we are. Let's bring the power back. Trim. With that being 10 knots, I'm going to land just carry a little bit more speed in with me. 15 degrees of turn, no more. I don't need that much speed. That's it. Around about 70 would be nice if I can get 70. There we are. It's a little bit high, but plenty of time to adjust that. Not that high though. It's 3 whites, 1 red. Looking for 70 knots now. Give me 70 knots. There we are. There's 70 knots. There's the wind. A little bit of weather vane there. So, gear down, brakes free and clear. Eyes to the end of the runway. Hold the nose. Left aileron into the wind. Just floated quite a lot there. That was about 108. Minus 108 feet per minute according to my landing rate monitor. A little bit aggressive, but definitely floated a little bit. But I thought I'd gone power idle there, and I've caught my other lever on my Bravo honeycomb. I'm thinking I'm at flight idle, well, power idle, and I really wasn't, so. Welcome to Bristol. Wasn't too bad, was it? Minus 108 feet, 10 knot crosswinds. Set trim, fuel boost pump. So it's just these types of clouds. You can see it here. They really need to work on in the next updates. These aren't too bad, just a little bit of depth and not so flat top looking. Those would be pretty good. It'd be a marked improvement, and then we can look to the next stage. So Laminar, if anyone from Laminar is happening to watch one of my videos, which I highly doubt, but thank you for giving up the time if you have. If you could just look to try and add a little bit of shading for depth in these, that would be perfect. And then whatever is going on with those clouds, I'm not a developer. I'm not going to sit there and try and make out that I am. So they definitely need some attention. Flaps are up. Trim's all done. We go ahead and set transponder to standby. Landing lights, strobe lights can come off. And we'll go taxi to parking. So block time currently 48 minutes, which is not too bad. Engine time, we're looking at 54. Flight time 45. Get that crosswind correction in just while we're taxiing. Aileron into the wind, and if the wind's kind of in front of you, behind you, etc., it does make a difference to where you put your flight controls. I think this is probably one of the nicest aircraft to taxi that I've done in the sim so far. I'm not gonna lie, other than the fact that it does take a little bit of extra power to kind of shift my butt on the taxiways here. It is really nice to taxi. Look at this. Look at these. The vehicles in XP12, as much as I like the visuals in Microsoft Flight Simulator, the default visuals for vehicles and ground objects. So look at these lights, for example. Street lights as well are absolutely insane. You know, you don't have flying orbs, you've actually got a light pole. Go ahead and turn off the taxi light. And that'll do for now, donkey. That'll do. Parking brake is set. Hold the brakes. 1200, we'll do 1000. There we are. Parking brake set, throttle set, lever set. I'm just going to quickly check something here, guys and girls, because I just need to make sure we're good to rock and roll here. So joystick settings, dethrottle, linear. I don't do linear. Cubic, and I want to get rid of that one and that one. And so linear set, that's all done. One, normal throttle, beta reversed intense, halo throttle, FADEC, which we do have, deadband manual thrust, climb thrust, which we do have. So ideally what I should be doing is I should be kind of setting these here for this type of system. So you can see here where it says deadband, manual thrust, but these are more for like Aerobask types. However, where it says max continuous thrust and things like that, definitely do work. And this is a FADEC system, so that's really nice to see. I'm glad I kind of clicked that, because I'll be honest, I hadn't spotted that. So that's interesting that they've put that in. I'm glad they have. We'll hit apply there. Let's just see if that just sorts that out for me. Sort of. Again, like you can see here from the turbo inlet temperature, just not getting any air at all, and massively off the scale there. So we'll go minimum now, make sure everything else is all done. Go ahead and turn off avionics. PO heats should have already been turned off. And I think we're good there. Everything's good. Go ahead, kill the fuel. And engine, come off. Stock, come off. And then we can just go ahead and turn off. Well, I'll just put that up so you can see it. Ground crew have very kindly gone and chopped us up and done everything without us having to ask them. And we can hop on out. honestly, it's a really good looking aircraft for something that is, without a shadow of a doubt, freeware. I mean, I know Aerobask do some beautiful stunning aircraft. I've got their E1000, the Epic G1000 or Epic 1000. I've got their Phenom 300, their DA62, DA50RG. Well, let's just safely say that when the Falcon X drops, I'll be getting that one as well, because I have always been quite impressed with the quality. Does some of the systems wise need a little bit refining? Yeah, of course it does. Let's just skip the time along here. Just want to have a look at something. Just want to have a look, see what these lights look like. Okay, that'll do. You can't not like that. Even if I wanted to. I mean, that from X-Plane 11, that is what I'm seeing there. That is a huge difference, an absolute huge difference. Personally, I still don't think it's 60 quid, but I'm making this in what I want it to be. Out of the box, if you want something really decent, then visually, then stick with Microsoft Flight Simulator for the time being. But that's not a bad picture. If we're being honest, that's not a bad picture. Let's just see what it's like in the day. All right, let's get that sun out of the way. All right, so there we are. That's not a bad image either. I mean, bearing in mind, ladies and gentlemen, this is X-Plane 11 scenery that I'm using in X-Plane 12. I think that needs to be a little bit smaller, but that's already been highlighted by numerous users. This is one of the things that I do like about X-Plane, is the cars, like from here, look really, really crap. But if you get closer to them, they actually don't look too bad. And these are Pilot Plus cars. These are Microsoft vehicles. These are Pilot Plus. So this is X-Plane 11 cars. Let's have a look and see if we can find a car driving down the road in the correct direction. Is there? There's someone. Ah, I zoomed into him. You can see actual trucks. They don't look so cardboard cut out. Some of the buildings need a bit more work, but again, I'm assuming these are Orbx buildings. So these are from X-Plane 11. Someone capitalizing on having an airport so close, private parking. This is where I come and park down here when I come to pick up family members. And you get a free bus all the way back through. One thing I want to try, and we might as well do it now because, you know, let's myth bust the crap out of this. So I've been told you can't put snow down on Orbx, which is fine. If I can't, I can't for the time being. So, all right, I'm not going to sit there and denounce it until we've kind of checked it. So let's have a look and see if we can Stick in some snow. Don't want any of this. Where's the settings? Marginal VFR, non-precision. It's convective. Won't really do much, but evolution over time, thermals, wind layer, cloud layer. Would have been nice to be able to just go snow. A preset. It doesn't look like it's got it though, unless I'm just being very special. No, I'm not being that special. Ah, there we are. Just being very special. Let's see if that works. Right, okay, so clearly that kind of busts that a bit, doesn't it? So yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you've not already tried it, you can try it again. Orbx, thank you. It does work with snow. Oh, holy bejesus, that's quite scary. Oh, lightning. That looks like a chainsaw. There's a guard. There's a handrail. That definitely. Well, I think someone in the art studio is being a little bit creative there. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, I genuinely, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't expect that. I really did not expect that. Let's jump back into this. Oh, I need to log on the blocks, otherwise I'll get into trouble. And log my engine off. There we go. All right, Captain. Let's have a look. Where were we? Customize. Download real weather. Rescan. Okay, so I was kind of expecting, if I'm not going to lie here, I was expecting a fair amount of rain, but obviously Bristol's clear of it. I'm not seeing it in my weather radar either, if I'm being truthful. Thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening here. So I'm not sure how long this is going to take to clear. Oops. That does look really, really pretty, doesn't it? Even for XP12. But there'll be someone who'll have fault with this and say, no, it doesn't look right, and that's not this, and you're never going to please anybody. But ultimately, the thing that matters the most is we as flight simmers will benefit from X-Plane 12, from Microsoft Flight Simulator, because Microsoft are going to go back to the drawing board and go, oh, we liked this in X-Plane 12. Let's bring that to Microsoft. And X-Plane 12 are going to go, right, we quite like this in Microsoft. Let's see if we can implement it. We all know what X-Plane 12 needs. It needs some form of better ground textures. But you know that kind of going into the gate that it's not coming with it. However, hopefully what I've shown today will help you all. I can just have a look. Now, I've got an absolute ton of Orbx True Earth. A ton of it. As a matter of fact, I've got every single True Earth package that they kind of published. So let's have a look here. I'm just going into my Orbx drive. Let's have a look. What's the properties here? So I've used 985 gigabytes, so almost a terabyte. And in that, I have, and I don't need to download it. If it goes, you know, if the servers go offline or anything like that, I don't have to worry about it. But let's just go through. Let me see. So I've got the Jersey Isles, which are also 4XP at zoom level 19. I've got X Europe, which is 17.5 gigabytes. V Countries Jamaica, which is all of 3 gigabytes. True Earth Washington, 62. True Earth California, 48. True Earth Oregon. Now, these are only the standard. I do have the HD versions as well, but I've removed them for saving some space. 58.4 gigabytes. 53 for Northern Cali. Florida is 41. True Earth Great Britain South, which is the one we're in, is 129 gigabytes. I really think Orbx need to kind of optimize that a little bit more. But again, you know, who knows? Size 142 gigabytes for Britain North, and Central's slightly smaller with 80 gigabytes. True Earth Spain, 49. True Earth Canary Islands, 30. True Earth Balearic Islands, 25. Quantum River, haven't flown there for donkeys, 1.5. And then I don't know why those are there though. Those can come out. I'll have to delete those because those are obviously been put there in error. Orbx libraries. The entire library package is 1.32 gigabytes, so it's not massive. And then I've just got my airports, and these again, I'm already using these for X-Plane 11. It's not like they're taking up any more space in their current preset. They may do once they start being updated. I'm not sure how it's gonna work between me running X-Plane 11 and X-Plane 12. One of them may have to chop and change, but at the minute it's not happening, so I'm not too worried about it. This is actually super cool. This whole place is defrosting. Since I'm going through the packages there of what I've got on my system and how much space it's taken up, the land is actually defrosting. The snow's defrosting. And it's not just defrosting like I've seen in other sims where it just disappears. This is actually defrosting in layers, look. You can see it here. Keep your eyes open here. Just where my cursor is. Here. So as time is kind of progressing, the land is getting warmer. We know it's getting warmer. We can see it getting warmer. I'm live weather live at the minute. I'm not live time, but just keep an eye on the textures because you can see the snow is actually melting away. And it's, you know, I've seen it in other sims, and, you know, we couldn't even get this in X-Plane 11. That is super cool. You can see it over here coming in. Like these here are still... This here is still all thick of snow. You see the runway? So the runway's starting to thaw out. Taxiways are starting to become more visible. You can see it now, look. I'm not losing my marbles. It is thawing. Yeah, that's news to me, and hopefully this is the first time you've seen it, because I've not seen it myself. I may have to snip this down and publish this just as a separate thing to my YouTube, because I'll be honest, ladies and gentlemen, I've never... This was just a test. Just, you know, I'd heard a couple of people asking questions about it earlier. Yeah. So I thought, you know what, let's try and debust the theory and see, is it right or is it wrong? One thing I will be hoping for, though, is things like these. These are actually little reservoirs. I'd like to see these populated more accurately. So Orbx, you know, like what you've done here, actually register these as little reservoirs so that X-Plane's data ref can populate some lovely inland water textures, which is what we've got there. And if you've never seen the zoom on X-Plane, even in X-Plane 11 and X-Plane 10, the zoom on this thing is incredible. Wherever, as far as you can see, you can zoom right into it. There's the lights. Bring it back. Boo-doo-boo-boo. That's really impressive. I'm not going to lie, ladies and gentlemen. That has really impressed me. You see here that the runway's starting to thaw out and the taxiways are starting to slowly thaw. It's not as thick as it was here. I don't know. Maybe someone can tell me. Does Microsoft Flight Simulator do that? If you've watched it to the end, and first of all, thank you for tagging along and watching us all the way to the end here. But if you've watched it up to this point and you've just seen what we've just viewed, let me know what your thoughts are. And if you're a Microsoft Flight Sim user, let me know. Does Microsoft Flight Simulator have thawing weather in terms of snow? Does the snow disappear pretty quickly, or does it dissipate over time as snow would in the real world? But overall, if you've not already picked it up, go and get the Aerobask DR401 over at the X-Planes forums. If you just type it into Google, I'll see about chucking a link into the description at some point for you all as well. But go and pick this aircraft up. It's free. You don't have to pay a penny for it. And as you can see, it does pretty work. Okay, so that was pretty rapid. I guess we got to a point where it was... Everything's gone now. Yeah. But that was pretty cool. So all the snow's disappeared. But I'm going to play that back because I just want to make sure I wasn't losing my mind and that it was dissipating over time and not ridiculously rapid. These are what needs to be cleared up. So these here are trees from the scenery that is default. Because I'm using... Is that default, actually? Looks like it, doesn't it? Yeah. Let me chuck a couple of trees here, there, and everywhere. And I know people are going to say, oh yeah, but it's still quite whitewashed and bland, the sky colors and textures. Ladies and gentlemen, and I hate to tell you this about your world, that is pretty accurate to maybe half a tone of blue to what I've seen and what I do see when I go flying in the real world. And that's no BS. That blue, that shade of blue here and this band here that's spot on. So I can't genuinely fault them there. These little popcorn thingy-majiggies, yeah, those need to go. When I look at it, has anyone ever seen Pixels with Adam Sandler? Those look like the little mushrooms that the centipede's going to come down and bounce around on. So I'm hopeful Austin and his team, his artistry team, will get amongst these, because I know Austin's got a big push for his clouds. He wants the clouds to be fixed. He's had a long time, 20 odd years of X-Plane where he's always wanted to have decent clouds. He's now got the option and, more importantly, the ability and the team behind him to do it. So don't give up. Keep going. I mean, this looks like a love heart, which is pretty cool. But yeah, these kind of need... I've never seen these... I've never seen anything like this in real life when I'm flying. But it's beta. We can only hope that they don't drop the ball. I know Austin's a little bit quirky, and he will ultimately always do what he wants to do. However, I do think that he's onto something here with this. It just needs a little bit more polishing. And Austin, I know you're not a big fan of ortho scenery, but please, sir, just have a look and tell me, does this really look that bad? Does this genuinely look that bad? That bad that you don't believe your sim, your bread and butter, your little baby, your hobby doesn't deserve something like this? Of course she does. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, it's 11 o'clock at night. I have got to Foxtrot Oscar. So till the next time, and as soon as I've got some more news for you regards to XP12, I'll fire away back into the sim. We'll go up, we'll test. If any of you have got any issues in regions that you would like me to look at, I'm more than happy to. We'll fire it up. We'll go in, we'll have a look, we'll check it, make sure it's what you're saying it is. If it is, it is. If it isn't, it isn't. We'll try and help each other out, because that is what this community does. We are the flight sim community. We look after each other, we help each other, and more importantly, we fly. So until the next time, everyone, take care, stay safe, God bless.